time currently is 7:50, and I just wanted to do something I've never done before, really, or posted online. I just wanted to do the NFL regular season predictions. As you can see, I've uploaded things to this channel. It's been a while, and excuse the dust, but yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So for the NFC East, I have the my favorite team. I might be biased, but the Philadelphia Eagles finishing first. And the surprise, I think the New York Giants may surprise some people. I think the combination of Russ and Jameis, as as meme worthy as they are, I think it might be enough, and that defense might surprise some people too. I think the head coach, he's an offensive based guy, but he's had to work with Daniel Jones, and that's very limiting. And I think now with at least some quarterbacks that have been proven, I think that may be the boost they need. Third is Washington. I think they'll finish a game behind the Giants. I think the NFC East matchups, at least with the Giants, New York and Philly, they may be really interesting. Heck, even with Dallas, I think Dallas is going to finish last in the division. I have no as of right now, I have no idea what Jerry's doing outside of just making Dallas the biggest soap opera. Look, if you can't beat them, take everyone's attention, take all the attention, you know. So that's my thoughts on the East. The NFC North, I think, is going to be incredibly brutal. Unfortunately, I think they send three. Someone's got to miss out, but I think number one is Green Bay. I think Love is going to be more comfortable. He's healthy. I think the receiving core is going to be a lot more solid and a lot more reliable. And you've got a great running back in Jacobs as well. And then you add Michael Parsons on defense, and that'll jumpstart the defense when someone's that good and taking all that attention. I think it unlocks things for everyone on the field for him. Second is Detroit. They lost both coordinators. I think offensively they'll be great still. I think you'd be crazy not to retain some of what Johnson left, and hopefully there's not too much. And just with how well they operated the last two seasons, in my opinion, there shouldn't be too much pressure on the offensive coordinator. Defensively, just honestly, I think this is why they're going to be second. They can't stay healthy. They just lost someone, and before the I believe before the preseason even started, a key guy. So I think just losing them may cause a bit of a slow start, and then I think as the season goes along, they'll pick it up and they'll be in the thick of things. But I think ultimately Green Bay getting off to a better start than Detroit will determine the finish, the 1-2 finish. Third is Minnesota. I think they'll be good. Kind of in the same vein as Detroit, Minnesota may take a little second to kind of get up and running. I think that they've always been good defensively, but offensively, their second best receiver, Addison, he's going to be out. He's been suspended. Obviously, Jefferson. I mean, he's the man. He can do whatever, but at the same time, that does make him a little easier to deal with without Addison on the other side. So, and now you got to factor in McCarthy, kind of getting those sea legs now. So I think when they get up and running, I think they'll be fine. And finally, Chicago. I'm excited for them, but I don't know what it's going to look like with Ben Johnson, and I don't know what the defense is going to look like. I don't know what Caleb Williams is going to look like. So who knows? They may, you know, get off to a great start, and they may lead, the division. But just as of right now, I think they'll have a promising season. But I think this first season is Ben Johnson learning as a head coach how to manage, personalities, and then also how to manage the play calling as an offensive coordinator. Now, and and that's why I think, again, in the same vein of Detroit, Minnesota, Chicago, they all have very, very key positions, whether it's coaching, coordinators, and everything. Just trying to get everyone in order, trying to kind of get their footing. And I think Green Bay, with the continuity, they have one of the best play callers in the league. I think people forget about LaFleur and kind of how he can get his guys going. I think Green Bay can get off to a good start and then kind of hold control and win the division and get to the playoffs. The NFC South, I think it's going to be very interesting. I mean, it'll be a two-horse race, Atlanta versus Tampa Bay. I think Atlanta having Tampa Bay's number is going to make things very interesting. I think they may split, but I would give the advantage to Atlanta, home and away. But I think they split, and I just think Tampa Bay's first place schedule maybe will be something that trips them up. The one thing in Atlanta's way is number one, the fact that they're Atlanta. For some reason, just being the Falcons, for some reason in these big games, they just find ways to lose. They find ways to take a great situation and kind of fumble it. But I don't think it happens this year. I think Penix is the real deal. He's got a great receiving core. He's got a great offense, great running back, great skill position. And honestly, the defense honestly is, I'm not sure if people really give them credit, but I think the defense is going to be pretty solid as well. That's why I have them. I think they finish a game or two ahead of Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay does make the wild card, by the way. I think Carolina's going to have a very promising season. You know, really what people are looking for is just making sure, Bryce Young continues that ascent and everything. He went through, just regular progressions, going from being a rookie, playing poorly, having to sit down, and then as he came back, you saw the confidence come back, and it's a great story. But now I think everyone's kind of, now as they, go from week to week, now we're going to be looking for that progression in Bryce Young's third year. Finally, is New Orleans. They got to get out from the cap. They right now they just got to figure stuff out. They have on defensively. They have some nice pieces, but they're kind of up there in age. Offensively, you're starting Spencer Rattler, who was shaky last year at best in his second year. And who knows? They might be spinning their wheels for a new quarterback. They drafted one, but I'm not sure if they really look at him as the long term guy. And they might be waiting for Arch Manning, but they might be waiting one more season, especially with the way he started. Because Manning, Arch, he has his own thing in Texas to kind of figure out this season. So it's going to be a try season for New Orleans. They could play the role of spoiler late in the season. Kellen Moore is their coach. So offensively, they may they may surprise some people here or there, but I think ultimately just talent wise, they don't have as much. And I think just between Atlanta and Tampa Bay, I think the continuity between those two, and then combine that with Carolina, kind of finding their identity. That I think that just puts them last in everything. So they'll be in the top five drafting come 2026. Finally, is the NFC West. I think it'll be really interesting. I think all four teams kind of have a claim and everything. I think these division games are always fun, and they can go either way, no matter kind of what the consensus is on teams. So I have the Rams squeaking out a division win. I know everyone's looking at Matt Stafford and wondering if he can hold up, but ultimately, I think what will be the difference is their defense. Their defense was great. They had a young defense last year, and their defense gave the Eagles the most problems. I mean, they consistently got to Hurts. I think they sacked him 4 or 5 times. And now the run defense may leave something to be desired because Barkley was running all over those dudes, and actually when Hurts did get free and ran, he ran on them too. So that run defense does need help. But pass rush wise, they might be top five. Seattle, I think Seattle's kind of I don't know if I won't say sleeping giant, but they are a dark horse in the division as well. I think Darnold. I think Darnold will help a lot. They have a solid receiving core, very underrated. I think they're going to be an underrated team, and I think defensively, they may catch people by surprise too. They're not slouches on defense. San Francisco, I think they will have a nice resurgence. I think they'll be fighting for that last playoff spot. Come by late December and everything. But hey, first of all, Brock, hey, he secured the bag. He earned it. He's been playing well. I mean, in terms of value, that before this big deal that he signed, he may have had the most value in the league. From performing to the contract he had as when he was drafted last. McCaffrey's back. If he can hold up, they can be dangerous. But I think ultimately defensively they may be a little lacking. Obviously, you got great linebackers, but if that front can't get to the quarterback, there's really no telling. They may give up a lot of points. They may give up a lot of points. They have a great play caller, but the book on them is, can you finish games? Can you kind of erase those kind of mental mistakes? No matter who's on the field, they lost a lot of close games last year, and a lot of them were due to just drop balls, maybe an interception here or two, maybe an interception that bounced off of someone's hand, and everything. So they're kind of they're kind of in the middle. They're kind of in the middle and everything. But like I said, I think the West is going to be a lot closer than people think. I think the Rams pull away late in the season, but at the same time, Seattle and San Francisco, they're going to be on the Rams' heels. And finally, Arizona. Again, it wouldn't surprise me if Arizona made the playoffs. I think, offensively they're nice. Defensively, they may be a little shocking. They did add some nice pieces, especially Sweat off the edge. So it really just comes down to Kyler. Can Kyler hold up? Can Kyler, just be consistent game to game? And can his health hold up? If it can, got a great tight end in McBride. You have a great receiver in Harrison Jr., great running back in Connor. I think you have a really nice line too. The sky's the limit for those guys. They may catch people by surprise. The NFC West, I think is going to be probably really, along with the NFC North, probably the most interesting division and probably one of the more dangerous divisions this year. I think you could almost scramble all four teams, almost kind of close your eyes and point at these teams and scramble them, and it wouldn't surprise anyone, by the end of the season if these standings are flipped upside down. So that's the prediction for the NFC regular season, and then I'll be back with the rest. Playoffs, AFC as well. Thanks for listening.